manages to make it past the bans. And although you might not be as hype on the Qiyana automatic win condition as Crumbs is, I know you're hype about that jungle Sylas, so I'm excited to see if we get some of him as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. I really enjoyed the one last week. We finally got to see it. See if it lines up here, though. As Crumbs mentioned, you know, Sejuani still is a very powerful pick and still one of the top junglers as well. Going to be rotating around. This is Huni's Rumble, by the way, specifically. Gets banned against him so often. One of his most comfortable champions and most played as well.
But it does mean you're alleviating some pressure in the ban phase onto what would be a more meta ban. We'll see if that does anything here for the side of Clutch Gaming, as Rumble and Irelia are banned out by TSM. Clutch deciding to bench the Kench first and foremost, while continuing to target the bottom lane and keep Sivir away from Zven.
Yeah, Sivir, one of the great partners to Yuumi in the bottom side. A lot of these champions still up. There were a lot of interesting little nerfs to a lot of the super powerful champions from 9.12 in patch 9.13. So we'll see if it drops them all down, you know, off that priority list, or if we still see some of the, you know, Lux and Yuumi type champions floating around. Sylas jungle banned out here. On 9.13, it is even stronger than as we saw last weekend, where Wiggly played it on 9.12. Got some extra damage, some extra health. So not going to be in game number 1 of the day.
Neither is the Karma, but hey, there she is, the hover for TSM. We'll see if that ends up getting locked in here, but Qiyana, her presence being made known here at the start of the day, but they will shift over to the Yuumi instead. They're saying, look, we know that Qiyana could pop off, but Yuumi was really reliable there. Super high priority on the last patch. We'll see how TSM plays.
Playing with the hearts of the fans. Debated once again. We were questioning, would the Yuumi still get picked up here? Yes, going to be first picked, in fact, for TSM. And it has been one of their most successful champions. Huni's not a debate. He is actually going to lock that sucker in. And we get our first Qiyana of the LCS.
We'll see if she can pop off here against TSM. Well, hey, here's half of the win condition that Crumbs said he wanted to see from Clutch Gaming. He said Sylas and Qiyana. Sylas got banned away. Qiyana is picked up, and Xayah is also grabbed there for Cody Sun.
All right. Now, Qiyana, of course, is going to be that assassin threat, and we'll see how they mix up their damage profiles. They're going to need some AP mixed in on the side of Clutch Gaming. We do get a Twisted Fate for Bjergsen. That can be either AP or AD. The Trinity Force Twisted Fate with lots of cooldown reduction and AD threat has become extremely popular. We'll see if he goes that way with it.
Trinity Force Twisted Fate also being a little bit tankier in terms of having the health, so that he doesn't get popped by the enemy assassin so easy. But of course, you might not have as quick of access to something like Azonia's Hourglass to protect yourself either. Ezreal picked up there for plenty of poke, and Clutch Gaming are going to complete the lovers duo there in the bottom lane, giving Vulcan some engage power against the TSM roster.
Yeah, definitely a threatening duo lined up here. The Ezreal and Yuumi, as we've seen from multiple teams, very, very high in poke damage, of course, with the Ezreal throwing out Qs and the prowling projectile from Yuumi. But the all-in potential there from Xayah Rakan is one of the go-to matchups. We'll see if Clutch can actually make use of it there. Cody Sun and Vulcan have been kind of the way that they've built a lot of their team comps around. Last week, they stepped outside of normal convention and they had Cody Sun going Zed mid. Did not work out for them in the end, so they're going right back to a little bit more standard style of the carry for late bottom side.
Clutch Gaming bans out the Jace and the Aatrox, and TSM respond by banning away the Yasuo. We'll see what their last ban wants to be here. They know their opponents still have to pick a solo laner and a jungler. Will it continue to be that solo lane focus, or do they want to try to target the pool of Lira here from the side of Clutch Gaming? Junglers honestly not getting a whole lot of attention just yet. TSM will ban away Skarner along with that Sylas from earlier, so that'll put a little bit of extra emphasis on that role.
All right, still quite a few floating around. Yeah, I mean, that's just a shout out to last week.
I mean, we don't know.
I think, yeah, you're getting baited once again. Plus, that would be a lot of AD on one team, so it's definitely not going to be the lock-in. The Sejuani is still floating around. There it is. The Trundle is still a very viable answer, and you can try and push the Sejuani into taking something like Hail of Blades or Fleet Footwork instead of Aftershock with that pick as well. Plus, it would give TSM a front line Now, they might still lack a little bit in crowd control, as the only real hard CC they have for setup is Twisted Fate, and then you have to get 3 ticks of the Yuumi ultimate off to get those snares. But it is going to be the Gragas once again. Akaadian going to pilot this one around. Gragas is really great actually with Twisted Fate in my opinion. You could throw some early Gragas ganks mid with Gold Card and the threat of flash body slams. You can get enemy summoner spells down very, very frequently. Oh, looks like it is going to be a switch here. Ooh. Twisted Fate possibly going top for TSM.
Now that's interesting because that does remove a little bit of the threat from Twisted Fate because of the fact that the ultimate does have a range on it, right? It's not the old school Twisted Fate that ports anywhere on the map, so it's a bit harder to go bottom.
Yeah, definitely harder to go bottom, but could also be an Azir top. See what the matchup is. Huni is very prone to going Cassiopeia top, so this is still flexible. They could swap Qiyana and Cassiopeia, keeping them guessing as to the matchup until the very end of the game here. I think both sides on their solo laners could easily switch these up.
Yeah.
And I would want the extra range and a little bit more safety in mid lane. Qiyana definitely has more walls to work with in mid lane. So I would assume that the ending role is going to be for her in mid.
7 seconds left to do these swaps around. We know sometimes the teams like to wait until the very last moment to let us know who's going to be going where. And there you go. It will be Huni on the Cassiopeia, Damonte, the first Qiyana of the LCS, as TSM puts Broken Blade on Azir, with Bjergsen staying in the mid lane on that Twisted Fate. We'll see if Akaadian can get him rolling here on the Gragas, and they can move around the map together as a duo, or if Clutch Gaming will be able to successfully target Bjergsen there in the mid lane to stop TF from doing what he wants. Clutch Gaming looking for an upset win here over TSM, who have honestly been having a rougher middle of the split than a lot of people would have been expecting them to, especially after coming into summer, saying how ready they were and how much they had been preparing. We'll see if maybe they can finish strong here in the last few weeks of play.
Yeah, not too much time left. Headed right for playoffs here in summer, and Worlds on the horizon.
All right, on to the Rift. Let's do it to it. TSM versus Clutch Gaming. TSM ready to grab themselves a win. Remember, they lost to CLG at the end of last weekend for the first time in almost 3 years. They'd love to get things back on track here, up against Clutch, who are still in the bottom half of the standings. A win here will bring them that much closer to that 500 record, going even on wins and losses. 1 game away from it with that victory. But TSM moving up into Clutch Gaming territory here early, seeing if maybe they can get some vision down. But while the teams prepare early on, we're going to head over to Avli, who's got a sideline report with Artemis. Take it away.
Thanks, guys. Artemis, this is your first weekend stepping into that new role as head coach for Clutch Gaming. What changes are you bringing to the team?
I think I add a lot of energy to the team. We were definitely struggling the past week or two, and this week we really just wanted to reset and sort of start from square one. So in addition to just helping out the team environment, we're also kind of changing our draft priorities and what we want to do in-game. So overall, me and Thomas rather, wanted to create a system for ourselves that we could hopefully use to make playoffs.
Thank you so much, and best of luck to you and the team. Back to you guys.
All right, looking at where everybody's positioned here at level 1, you can see some vision placed down on the TSM red buff by the side of Clutch Gaming. Keep an eye on that one. They know Akaadian will not be starting there, but instead, he's over in the chicken pit.
Plus, we got the switches that we were hoping for. Both of the swaps at 20 seconds come in for both teams. So Bjergsen actually takes the Twisted Fate. Meanwhile, Damonte takes the Qiyana down to mid lane, and we've got the stare down on top side. Broken Blade, very well aware that Huni wants to use Cassiopeia's early poison to force him off of the minions, and he will do just that.
Huni's so aggressive. This guy made his name by being such a powerful mechanical player, the kind of guy who's just going to make the plays happen for his team. We'll see if up against Broken Blade, he can keep him down here in this laning phase. Cassiopeia notoriously oppressive in those 1v1s, and Damonte is going to be somebody we're keeping our eye on as well. We already heard from the desk how successful Qiyana has been in pro play in her short appearances there so far. See if Clutch Gaming can keep that going.
Yeah, and we might as well talk a little bit about the element stealing, as this is the first LCS game, at least, with the champion. And Damonte here going into the river, one of the 3 elements that you can steal. Trying to steal rock, river, or brush. You can see now the orange blade on her. You get bonus move speed when you're near the elements, so you have to get really close to a wall. But if you hug walls, then you can also get a big boost of move speed just for walking around, as well as the extra damage and attack speed. So it's super helpful to just hold on to one, like Damonte is doing right here, for the possibility of, ganks or anything like that. You do have a little bit of extra move speed. And right now, getting pushed in by Twisted Fate, there's not a lot for her to do as the short-ranged assassin.
Yeah, from what I've seen in general, the Qiyana builds are often Tiamat into lethality, think a talent style of build, because although the champion does have some wave clear ability with the Q, constantly having to spam Q on the wave means you aren't able to trade as effectively, which pretty much removes your kill threat, negating the entire point of being an assassin. Huni getting himself back in the top side here. Akaadian showing up with the Predator gank. Oh! Flash, and Akaadian says, take a sip. That's first blood over to TSM.
TSM have been trying to figure out which jungler they are going to stick with for all of summer split, basically. After Akaadian played both games last weekend, he's out to an early start on this weekend. Predator right up the lane, into the lane bully, is able to wait out the flash from Huni and still have the body slam in effect for his reactive follow-up flash. Really nicely played there by Akaadian, expecting the flash from Huni and then having his mouse placement right on top and ready to react as soon as he sees it.
Exactly what a TSM fan wants to see. Only 4 minutes into this game, they get themselves on the board. They alleviate some of that nasty, nasty pressure from the Huni Cassiopeia. What can Clutch Gaming do now? Lira will take over the bottom side of the map here with this Scuttle Crab. Secured that one for his team. Keep him a little bit safer as he moves into the TSM jungle. Maybe there's a camp to steal away here. Zven and Smoothie backing themselves up against Vulcan and Cody Sun. Worth pointing out, Smoothie does have the double defensive summoner spells on the Yuumi, Exhaust and Heal. No Ignite going to be present there this game. Wants to make sure that that Ezreal or the Twisted Fate or whoever he's attached to, 3 different backline cannons on this TSM team for Yuumi to peel for.
Meanwhile, you're going to get a little bit of extra vision there for Clutch Gaming. Huni's got a control ward on the top side for himself for defensive purposes. He knows that he is going to be a really easy target because Akaadian can return gank and Broken Blade has the flash advantage. And so they have to worry about that, plus a little bit of deep vision there on the bottom side. They do see Akaadian pass right by the Raptors, and Lira trying to clear out any sort of TSM information on theirs.
Lira taking care of those and continuing to farm up here on this Sejuani, looking to find the level 6 so that he can really get those ganks going with the Glacial Prisons. Back in the mid lane, a little bit of a farm advantage there for the side of TSM as Bjergsen does have control over that lane early. You can see in Damonte's inventory immediately going for the serrated Dirk and the kill potential as opposed to going for the Tiamat for the farming strategy early. Wants to make sure that he can get these kills as quickly as possible. And this is one of the things about a new champion. Sometimes you can surprise people with the damage output. Huni going for the all-in there onto Broken Blade, but not going to get the stun on the Petrifying Gaze.
Yeah, he's got the level 6 first, so he wants to take the advantageous all-in immediately because he has the experience advantage. And he's not able to get the stun, but he gets a decent amount of damage, does push through the minions as well. And with it pushing into offensive territory here, he's going to have to call Lira over. That's why you can see TSM are trading this topside movement on the mini-map from Clutch Gaming for the Dragon there on the bottom half. And that is going to be an easy move for Akaadian to pick up Ocean Drake, which goes such a long way. The laning phase for all of these lanes greatly, greatly impacted here. Ezreal, Yuumi likes to sit back, try and poke there from the bottom side and stay safe. Similar thing for Broken Blade. You know, even though they got the early first gank off, the Cassiopeia is still really difficult to lane against in the long lane for Azir, and they don't want that CS discrepancy to get any wider.
Best Ocean Drake is an early Ocean Drake. TSM sitting comfortable on that one. Also worth noting, as I was talking about Damonte's items earlier, Bjergsen does have the Phage in inventory saying, yep, it's going to be that Trinity Force rapid fire cannon, more split push type of Twisted Fate as opposed to the traditional AP build. You can see Lira with the ultimate moving down into his jungle looking for his blue buff. But Akaadian has already got that one and walked away from it before Clutch Gaming are able to do anything in retaliation. Akaadian now back into his own side of the jungle to grab the red, and with these junglers both at level 6, playmaking potential is at its peak right now.
And it's really important. We just saw on your screen the sweeper here picked up very early from Lira. Every time you get counter jungled like that, you have to assume there are wards left behind in your jungle by the enemy jungler. So he pops the sweeper, and Clutch are able to clear out everything that Akaadian just got done inside their jungle. Now they're even invading on TSM's side. They have a control ward behind the red buff, and they're going straight bottom.
They're looking for Zven and Smoothie. We'll see if this four-man collapse is going to be enough. Oh, very nice prediction. Lira makes it look like he's got an aim buy.
Lira just drifting around Summoner's Rift there, able to queue over on the Sejuani and pull off the ultimate right on the Zven after the flash, nailing the kill for Clutch and evening it up there in the kill score, allowing an extra plate to be taken, and that is some much-needed cash on the side of Clutch Gaming. Here's another look at the gank. They come straight through that tribe rush. Wards have already been cleared out, and able to reactively hit the ultimate there, secure the kill, and that allows the money to go to Qiyana as well. So Damonte there with the lethality start is going to have huge all-in potential now. You have to be very careful when walking around any sort of terrain. The walls, the brush, they can all explode, Flowers.
The walls, the brush, everything can explode. And remember that Qiyana also has the ability to engage in an incredible amount of stealth as long as she is near brushes. There's been some clips I've already seen of the champion constantly refreshing the brush element, making sure she can stay stealth for a very long amount of time. A lot of outplay potential there, especially if she gets ahead, especially when she has a Duskblade to reset those procs off of the stealth. We'll keep track of Damonte as once again, he's looking towards that bottom side, but walking over a TSM ward now. Zven and Smoothie are going to be wise to what's happening. Even though Zven died last time, Smoothie still has both summoner spells if Clutch Gaming go for another all-in.
Yeah, I like that you touched on it a little bit there, that for Qiyana, cooldown reduction is very powerful. Because the Terra shape, which everything resets off of when you steal a new element, it has a flat cooldown of 7 seconds. So having the Duskblade or the Ghostblade, gets you the lethality as well as some of the cooldown reduction along the way with your build path. And when you can lower the cooldown of your Terra shape, then you can also get your resets on your Qs, and it really multiplies your damage output.
Terra Shape's the name of the game as Lira walks through mid lane, not really finding an opportunity to make a play here just yet. Bjergsen staying back far enough, and considering the fact that he has the extra HP from the phage and also has stopwatch and inventory, there's no real opportunity for Clutch Gaming to make a dive happen onto him. While topside, Broken Blade is shoving the wave up into Huni's turret here. You can see he's definitely not on the back foot any longer after the way the lane started off. Akaadian really helping him out so much there early on by alleviating that pressure, removing Huni's flash and teleport, and making it so Broken Blade has a much more pleasant laning experience, considering both these champions are going to scale into very high DPS AP threats.
Very, very true. Teleport being used by Broken Blade right back to the top side. And he has picked up the early cooldown reduction and bottom side.
Oh, here we go. Vulcan going in as now ults are going to be used from both sides. Vulcan keeping himself safe there with the stasis. Cody Sun having to back away. Akaadian not going to get anything with that ulti, and Vulcan can disengage.
Yeah, really good job there by Vulcan, able to get out right after the stopwatch, making the Gragas ultimate whiff at the end, and this is going to be a objective traded for the all-in on the bottom side. It looks like on the mini-map, Akaadian's wrapping around, and they're continuing.
TSM are not willing to let this one walk away. Zven's grabbing a kill onto Cody Sun. Vulcan tries to flash to get out. The prowling projectile's not going to let him get away just yet. And Bjergsen gives him one last card for the road. That's TSM picking up 2.
That's Trinity Force, Twisted Fate coming in with the extra damage. Clutch Gaming do get the Rift Herald on the opposite side of the map. They're going to use it mid and try and get the whole turret.
Clutch Gaming looking for that plate money, trying to avenge their fallen comrades there in the bottom lane. 2 more plates go down with Shelly and 3 members still hammering on this. They should be able to secure the turret here in time. Lots of extra armor means it will take an extra moment or two, but that one will fall, and Clutch Gaming is going to need it. They are down 2,000 gold now, but that will be alleviated by about 1,000 as TSM were able to take some plate money of their own in the bottom side.
Yeah, a couple of trades here. TSM taking a lot off of bottom half of the map. Meanwhile, Clutch Gaming with a pretty good answer for themselves. So the gold lead's still manageable, but here's another look at the TSM continuation of the play. This is after the first gank on bottom side, so that they know there is no more answers left They're able to chase him down. Prowling projectile will get the slow to give Bjergsen the time to get into range for gold card. Now he's going to teleport bottom.
Oh, Cody Sun just way too far forward. Chain CC plus the true shot barrage from downtown. No way out for Cody, and now Vulcan might just be chased down here as well. Akaadian going very far forward, but because Lira is nearby, kill potential's not going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, that was also a really good job by Smoothie, by the way. He pops off of Zven to stay in the same spot, allows Zven to continue the chase, but still land the extra snares there from Yuumi. Damonte's on the hunt here, but not able to find Broken Blade. A good example, though, you always want to go in holding an element so you can use your Q, then steal a new element, get the reset, and use a new one. Meanwhile, TSM, seeing Qiyana go for the dive onto Broken Blade, will start up the next dragon here.
But top side, Broken Blade could be in some further trouble. Woo! Damonte going forward. Broken Blade with some fancy feet. Damonte soaking the turret damage, and Broken Blade will survive.
That was so clean because we talked about trying to avoid the walls. Qiyana will make them explode with her ultimate. Broken Blade, the normal way to outplay those 2v1s is to hide under the turret, but he goes away from the turret, away from the wall, swoops back behind it, and does avoid death while the team is able to get something on the other half. Meanwhile, Zven actually still chunking away here on the turret, is able to get the plate right before the 14-minute mark ticks away, and they are able to cash in on the gold. Here's another look at it. Broken Blade's able to get away from Damonte. Also gets very close, though, going back to the wall.
Yeah.
But those are the margins you have to play because he's right next to Huni, the Cassiopeia there. And he was almost in danger of getting burned down. Nice escape for himself, and the top tower still stands as well.
Good stuff coming out from TSM here early on. Let's see if Broken Blade can survive yet another attempt on his life here. As Huni and Lira are going to be looking for him. Huni goes forward. Wow, that was very ambitious.
Well, he was hoping to catch him a little bit slower on the fingers there. Flashes in to try and get the stun. If the stun lands, that's a guaranteed kill. Broken Blade turns around and flashes in time, though, as Lira heads up and was clearing out the control wards. So another escape from Broken Blade. This one does cost his summoner spell, so he's definitely running low on resources.
Bjergsen's after Damonte here, and even though Damonte is trying to hide in the stealth,
Yeah.
Bjergsen's ulti does a good enough job revealing him until the very end. Damonte has enough stealth to get himself away with a sliver of life.
I mean, he's got a team that's coming down to chase off the evil Bjergsen and Smoothie combination, and they just barely save him. One more auto would have done it. Huni now.
Top side, it's Huni in trouble yet again. Broken Blade's the one getting ganked more. However, his ganks matter a lot when Akaadian is able to make them succeed like that.
Yeah, that Predator Gragas really having an impact on the top side of the map. Broken Blade has outplayed every single one of Clutch's attempts at his life, and yet he is successful both times that Akaadian comes top for the offensive play. This is what people want out of their top laners, avoiding all the enemy ganks and making successful use of the team's ganks.
4,000 gold at 16 minutes is quite a lead here for the side of TSM, and things are only going more and more in their favor. We'll see if Clutch Gaming can make a play here in the mid lane, but remember, when Zven has Smoothie attached like this, that's extra summoner spells, extra healing, extra protection. It's so much harder to engage on this champion than it may first appear.
All right, I'm looking for some big Qiyana plays from Damonte. I think the hope of Clutch Gaming resides in Damonte here. He's going full lethality, not stopping off for any of the wave clear, not trying to get the Tiamat up for himself. He's got the second serrated Dirk now built in inventory, looking to go probably for the Dust Blade to follow up this Ghost Blade. He's going to have so much extra move speed, especially when you can steal elements and run through them. To look around and create that play, it's just that Clutch need to be able to find someone out of position on the side of TSM to actually take down. It does help a lot if they're in the jungle, you know, close to one of these walls.
Here we go. Lira tries to get the ulti again. It is on the mark, but Zven is able to use the flash to evade it at the very end. I like what I'm seeing from Damonte here, and this I think is a very important thing about Qiyana. When he's running into these fights that are in the lanes, like we saw top side and like we just saw mid, the element he always chooses to take into the fight is River because it's not the one he can refresh at any point during the fight. Always initiating with whatever's going to be the farthest away. one of those just little micro sort of optimizations you can make on the champion to get the most out of your rotations and your resets, as TSM will group up 5 men middle and look for the tier 1.
Yeah, I mean, plus the River's going to give you that root and slow, so it's the best when going for any sort of gank on people. Unless you want to get some stealth right up behind them. That could be pretty useful too.
Yeah, well, they would see the torrent of bushes and wind and whatever else she throws out there.
Don't pay attention to the breath.
Yeah, just a gentle breeze. Don't worry about this going on here. But Clutch Gaming has a few things to worry about as that gold lead continues getting bigger and bigger, and as they have to somehow defend against the onslaught of the TSM mid game. Bjergsen with rapid fire cannon now completed. An incredibly long range for a point-and-click stun makes it hard to get away from, even if you've got the flash.
Yeah, rapid fire feels super good for gold cards when you're able to pick that. Meanwhile, we're going to have a possible brush play here from Clutch Gaming.
I mean, they show up, but when all you can do is come out, Cassiopeia spits on them, you're not going to get a lot just yet. Vulcan looking for maybe the opportunity to engage here, but doesn't want to jump in by himself. The follow-up will not be there, and he would explode. Two-shot barrage onto a few different people.
The timing for this play for Clutch is a little off. Lira, no cooldown on the Sejuani ultimate. They need that for the team fight. So they're waiting on the cooldown for Sejuani ultimate while TSM just runs straight through and take their turret.
TSM has priority. They have the protection from the Azir Sun Disc, and they just call Clutch's bluff. They say, if you're not going to engage, we don't care. Vulcan goes in without the rest of the team. Qiyana ulti going to find a little bit of damage now. Broken Blade taken very low, still going to be kept alive. The Zoomies will get him out as Akaadian's now going to be jumped on. Disengage coming out from the Yuumi yet again, and that is how you play the cat.
I actually want to do the replay of that with some drawing to see how TSM passed the Yuumi here, because as soon as the burst damage gets down onto Broken Blade, they need to funnel the cat over to him as quickly as possible.
Potato! No, you take the cat. No, give it back to me.
Trying to pass him over there. They get it there just in time. And Broken Blade does survive. TSM escaped. They got the mid push successful for themselves. All right, let's take a look. Because right now you see Akaadian's on the bottom side. He has to come all the way up here with the Yuumi. He's able to pass off the Yuumi to Zven, I believe, and then get it to Broken Blade. No, he's just able to walk it up. Get there, they get the heal off as well, and then they can root him on the way out. Qiyana getting rooted, meaning there's no more threat here, and they're able to get everybody out alive.
Well played by TSM there. They get that turret that they were looking for in the mid lane. Clutch is never able to find their initiation, and even once Lira's ulti comes back up, it is body blocked from hitting the low HP target, and TSM's coordination wins the day. Now, Clutch Gaming, the question has to be, how are they going to find these fights? I mean, we saw the attempt there. It's not like they're completely asleep at the wheel, not doing anything, waiting for TSM to push the issue. But when you don't have ultimates up, when the team's not on the same page, it just won't work.
Yeah, my point there is the timing of it is off. You can have a great idea behind it, but if you don't have the Sejuani ultimate, you can't start the fight on your terms here. They've got Vulcan with the Rakan, very squishy champion. We saw them attempt that on the top side, but not quite have enough to finish the kill. If you have Sejuani plus Rakan engaged, that means Qiyana gets to go in and burst someone 100% down, and that's how you want to start the fight. When you're playing with those AD assassins, you'll be able to target someone and immediately eliminate them from the fight. TSM now with so much map control, that becomes more and more difficult to do. As you can see, the constant wards they're moving up on the Baron side of the map make it very difficult for Clutch Gaming to make any of those initiations possible for themselves. There's just sweepers and wards everywhere for TSM, setting up for this Baron.
And this is one of the things that I saw a lot of people saying about Qiyana when the champion was first shown off for her kit and exactly how she synergizes with the terrain. Whenever you're fighting in the base, whether it's yours or theirs, you don't have nearly as much terrain to work with. There is no river, there is no brush in the base, unless for some reason you have Ivern on your team. So you've only got one element to work with. Resets are not a thing that's really going to be part of your vocabulary, and if Clutch Gaming find themselves stuck in their base, where the one person on the team with a kill is an assassin that now only has access to 1 out of 3 of the critical elements of her kit, it'll be very hard for them to win a team fight. They've got to try to hold on to this map, but TSM is making it so damn hard by choking that vision away, as you pointed out. The gold lead is 6,500 at 22 minutes. True Shot Barrage just fired up the mid lane to clear out some of the minions and see what they can see, as Lira and Cody Sun will move a little bit further forward here. Vulcan, the main initiation for the side of Clutch Gaming, unless that Sejuani ult does find the mark, but he's got to be so careful. He can only jump in and almost immediately has to go right back out of fear of being focus fired. Bjergsen will continue split pushing here on the bottom side. Not too afraid of Huni's Cassiopeia that honestly hasn't had a very incredible showing so far this game. His petrifying gazes have not been landing the stuns. He's just not been able to dominate the lane. Damonte now looking for the kill onto Broken Blade in the solo. Able to find the stun. The follow-up damage is there from Lira. And that's Clutch Gaming getting themselves another.
All right, critical pick here for Clutch. Let's see what they can do with the power play, because currently TSM are pushing mid, and there's not a lot of extra territory they have to work with. So TSM keeping up the pressure means that this will just be a kind of small break for Clutch Gaming. Definitely a critical one as they get the kill and the flash off of Broken Blade and that Azir, so it will relieve some pressure.
Right, you look at TSM, you look at some of the big engage potentials. You've got Gragas and you've got the Azir with a big Shurima shuffle, but no flash really removes a lot of that threat. See if maybe it's enough to have Clutch get a little bit more confidence, move out further onto the map, and try to set up any more traps. 2 fully completed lethality items now on Damonte is how he's able to find all that damage onto targets like Broken Blade. And if we look at TSM, there's not much protection on either of the solo laners. You've at least got the Seeker's Arm Guard now for Akaadian, so a little bit of armor there to withstand the Qiyana assault. Ezreal having the Iceborne Gauntlet does a lot of work there to negate the lethality being stacked. But both of those mages are very easy to jump on and blow up if you can get the angle, and if you can get through Smoothie, who's been providing a ton of protection here so far for the entirety of the team. Clutch Gaming looking to maybe collapse. Lira over the wall is right on top of a ward, and with Huni next to him, TSM knows what's up.
All right, can they make it happen? Bjergsen still pushing on top side. TSM have 1-3-1 right now, so if Clutch are just staying in mid, then TSM are slowly going to get extra territory here on the map. Bjergsen now showing, pops the Twisted Fate ultimate, pushes up to the inhibitor. That means the rest of TSM have to watch out for the Sejuani ultimates.
TSM do not manage to stop Huni in time. He'll get back to the base to deal with Bjergsen, but Bjergsen's putting a lot of DPS into this turret very quickly. Takes one turret shot, gets himself away before the miasma falls to the ground. And now Clutch Gaming takes the opportunity to go for the Drake. Ocean Drake 25 minutes in is not the same thing as Ocean Drake at 6 minutes into the game. Not a big gain there for the side of Clutch Gaming. And TSM have said, all right, you guys are going towards the bottom half of the map. We're going to go towards the top, bring Bjergsen over, put the team in the Baron pit. They will not complete this objective, though. They get it down to half HP before Clutch is able to collapse in time.
All right, critical objective completed for Clutch, though. Stopping the Baron, refreshing their wards around this area. This is the most dangerous thing that they have to keep done in this game. Predator now used by Akaadian. See what TSM are going to do with this opening. Are they just going to rush straight up mid? Because Clutch are not in position to defend that inhibitor turret. If they just rush to it right now, they can get a decent amount of damage. Cody Sun and Vulcan are the ones in place ahead of time, but that's not enough.
TSM have already prepared the Sun Disc to stay alive, but that's going to be a nice initiation. 2 get immediately evaporated, and Clutch Gaming have found a very nice engage. Sun Disc going to fall next, and the question now, Clutch Gaming, what is your reward for that win?
Vulcan is able to get in there on the Rakan. Damonte still trying to keep up the chase here, trying to continually terraform to use the dash to catch up with everyone, but they are going to turn their sights towards Baron. Huge rewards for that play. Vulcan, the star here. Rakan able to get in with the flash ultimate. Huni following it up on Cassiopeia gives them this opportunity, but Bjergsen Twisted Fate.
Going after Damonte here yet again. The invisibility going to be keeping Damonte alive. Stasis also buying him a couple of extra seconds. Flashing away now, trying to get away from Bjergsen. Prowling projectile not going to find its way onto the Clutch Gaming. Mid laner Smite secure onto the Baron now. TSM looking to grab Clutch Gaming on the exit. Damonte backing out, empowered recall, getting him home safely, but the rest of Clutch has to try to escape. Vulcan gets away to Huni, but he's still dead to rights. True Shot Barrage finds him. It's going to be a TP out to try to escape for Clutch Gaming. They will drop 2 on the exit, but they secure Baron, and the buff is live on 3 members.
This is a much-needed hope for Clutch Gaming. The Baron's so big just to get off the map for themselves. That was one of the biggest tools that TSM had at their disposal, was with the Yuumi, with the Ezreal poke coming through, and the Twisted Fate constant pressure. When Baron's on the map, it makes it so difficult for Clutch getting pushed and pulled between multiple objectives, but off of the play mid. Not only do Clutch get a couple kills and get the Baron for themselves, but they remove one of the things that TSM was using to draw them across the map.
And it's all thanks to Vulcan going in on that Rakan. I mentioned how this and your Sejuani ultimate are how the fights can start for these guys. Huni's not able to get in there and make plays happen with a petrifying gaze against this TSM composition. It's got to be one of these two, and Vulcan made it happen. Here's another look, though, at the back end of the play at Baron.
All right, barely able to survive with his stopwatch. Bjergsen's Twisted Fate has been able to find him over and over with the ultimate, but this time he slips out. Then it's a scramble. Everybody for themselves here. Huni tries to fight off Zven and Smoothie. Vulcan gets caught in the middle of the river there. So even though Huni goes back to allow him a jump, enough of the projectiles do find their hits. Huni teleports out. They have Cody Sun teleporting out of the brush, or recalling out of the brush. So they do get 3 members to survive with the Baron buff, and that's enough to buff up these minions and try and defend against TSM's next onslaught.
And the name of the game for Clutch here is actually split pushing with Huni, making him pressure the top side to try to get some gold from these turrets while defending in the bottom lane. Inhibitor turret under siege.
Qiyana is flanking around behind them.
Damonte wanting to start this fight. This could be big for the side of Clutch Gaming. Damonte is going to go in, get stunned up, burst it down, and he is deleted. Clutch Gaming make a critical error and initiate with their assassin. The counterattack from TSM is big, and Broken Blade's damage is bigger. Now they're seeing if they can find any more, but the base will surely crack.
TSM now have full control of the Clutch Gaming base. They are inside. First inhibitor turret down, #1 inhibitor soon to follow, and mid lane here, only a few HP left. They're going straight for Nexus turrets though.
That play from Damonte would have looked so much different if he still had the stopwatch, but stasis and no stasis are very different games. Here in League of Legends, Clutch Gaming lose 2 inhibitors.
TSM going to take 2 and back off. They can now get the full reset. And with super minions now headed down mid and bottom, this next dragon should be easy for them to control. Here's another look at it. Notice all of TSM in the middle of the lane, not against the wall. Zven is the only one that they're able to push all the way into the wall. Then Lira's Sejuani ultimate actually doesn't even follow up on it. He does not land it. They don't get to layer their CCs. And as you said, Qiyana is very, very susceptible to getting burst down, especially if Qiyana is the first one in the middle of the fight. Nothing left for survivability there, so he goes down immediately. And only getting 1 person into the wall is not enough to win the team fight. They would have needed some better initiation, maybe from the Sejuani or Vulcan to be the point person, but that is so big for TSM. 2 inhibitors now means Dragon is easy for them to pick up, and they can just head right back out, push on the top side of the map, and force Clutch Gaming into a much smaller area.
Clutch looked like they were on a good track there for a moment after grabbing themselves the Baron, after getting those couple of picks, but one botched team fight initiation puts TSM right back in that driver's seat. They're going to continue to apply pressure across the map. Bjergsen on this Twisted Fate, 50% crit chance, has the Hourglass in his pocket. The stopwatch, I should say, along with that Trinity Force from earlier, means his split push presence is absolutely huge. Broken Blade on the top side. He's got the Void Staff to get through any of the magic resistance he might need to shred on the more frontline champions like the Huni Cassiopeia, like that Sejuani from Lira. And now he's just going to keep pressuring there in the top side. TSM wants to just make one more push to end things here. They could be waiting on the Baron as well, a little bit over 1 minute before that one spawns. And Bjergsen will grab himself the red buff. He's got Smoothie attached in case Clutch tries to collapse on him down here, but he should be just fine.
And part of the reason it's so difficult for Clutch to get, pushed inside their base and into this smaller area, the Assassins really shine when you're making plays across the map, trying to single out players. But Qiyana's going to have a much more difficult time team fighting inside of her own base, where there's not going to be isolated members for her to go after. And it's going to be hard to force TSM into a wall for a really big ultimate. So we'll have to see. Maybe Clutch Gaming can get creative. If you can catch TSM rotating through your jungle, that's a lot more options with way more walls to work around.
And brushing. Lots of resets, lots of potential there in the team fights, but TSM are setting up in not the most conventional setup for a split push, a 3-2 as opposed to a 4-1 or a 3-1-1, keeping Smoothie attached to Bjergsen, so there's no way to really collapse and punish him being there on that side lane by himself. As Zven goes up the wall, Huni gonna be jumped on there, but disengages with a nice petrifying gaze before Broken Blade's able to enter into the fight. Clutch Gaming's top laner stays alive right now, but without Petrifying Gaze anymore, TSM know that that's a pretty big team fight spell down as they continue to pressure here in the top side. Baron spawning in 1 second. TSM immediately back to the pit, over the wall, clearing out the vision.
All right, Clutch Gaming trying to clear out as many super minions as quickly as possible. Damonte and Huni working together in the mid lane. Meanwhile, they've sent a couple members over to deal with the bottom side as well. Cody Sun gonna try and crit that wave. While TSM waiting with this Baron, now that it's on the table, it's going to draw multiple members over. Bjergsen on Twisted Fate can teleport with the Yuumi and take Smoothie across the map as well. So you get a 2-for-1 ultimate here with Yuumi being attached to Twisted Fate. It really just goes a long way in supporting the split push style here, when your support basically gets to be in two places at once.
Plus, when you look at Zven's itemization, you can see why he doesn't even need Smoothie attached anymore. He's got himself the Iceborne for all the kiting. He's got himself the Blade of the Ruined King for the extra kiting. And he's got the QSS to get out of the CC. And speaking of the CC, here it comes! TSM starting things off there as Lira's going to be forced into the faces, keeping himself alive ever so barely. Not anymore. Broken Blades on a killing spree, and Clutch Gaming have lost their jungler. That is a Baron now for TSM.
Yeah, without the jungler, there's not even the hope of the smite steal. Are they gonna go for it? Clutch, kind of last hope here. Damonte heads over to the area.
No, you can't go for that. Already secured by the side of TSM. Bjergsen the one getting the killing blow onto it. Now going to be pressuring into that top side. 5 minutes off. Damonte goes into the stealth, keeps himself alive and gets away, but it's still a 4 versus 5 for the next 15 seconds. It is one inhibitor turret left barely standing. That'll be remedied here real quick by the side of TSM. Once that miasma dissipates, they'll be free to push up and pressure onto this inhib. All 3 inhibs now alive. The other 2 have just respawned, but TSM will fix that up real quick here. Number 1 falling in the top side. They retreat back out of the base and path down towards the rest of the map, or just back to spend some of that money they managed to grab themselves.
Easy reset for TSM, 50 seconds left on this Elder Dragon. This is gonna be the last stand for Clutch Gaming. They cannot hope to fend off a TSM with both of the end game buffs here. No. So Damonte trying to make a solo play here. Assassin versus Control Mage.
All right, Broken Blade, let's see if you got what it takes to outplay the Qiyana. Throws a soldier into the Tribe Rush. Ooh, nothing's there. Where can he be? Oh, he's right there, and he's ready and waiting. See you later.
That's what we're talking about. Assassins like to make plays in the spread out map. Damonte finally finds a solo kill for himself here onto Broken Blade. That's going to be 45 seconds left in the Death Chamber, and it might be what Clutch Gaming need to get back into this game one more time. Predator used there by Akaadian, and the ultimate from Bjergsen is going to get him up to the top side to continue split pushing.
TSM saying, we don't care if you have priority over the Elder Drake pit. We don't care if it's a 4 versus 5. We can end the game. Damonte nearly going to be insta-give there by Akaadian. Not quite enough damage as Zven goes forward, and Bjergsen is still in the base. Looking for a gold card here as Huni will defend those Nexus turrets. TSM even a man down with greater pressure across the map than Clutch Gaming because they're so far ahead. Because of the state of the map and the inhibitors, they now once again control the Elder Drake pit.
All right, Bjergsen needs to keep up the pressure for TSM on the top side because Twisted Fate can get there a little bit quicker. Let's see if they can push down one more inhibitor here. Clutch Gaming retaining control of this inside track of the jungle leading up to the Elder Dragon is critical. Damonte here constantly moving back and forth, threatening. His ultimate on Qiyana is back up. So if Clutch Gaming can find them in the river here and force them for a big knockup, Damonte might be able to make a play. Trying to get around the wards here now.
Damonte stands alone, though. Not a whole lot you can do against the rest of TSM. And that is Elder Drake picked up for them. Baron's still alive for another 30 seconds as Bjergsen and Smoothie go forward. The burn is enough, and Bjergsen goes on a killing spree. With Damonte down, Clutch now stand with a near impossible task of weathering this storm.
Yeah, The Twisted Fate has just been such an insanely good answer here for TSM. Bjergsen ultimate, constantly able to find Damonte, take him down, remove the Qiyana threat, and now TSM, nothing standing between them and the Clutch Gaming Nexus, but 4 members. 5v4.
Huni's going in. Petrifying Gaze going to be starting things off. A lot of damage coming through, not enough to be able to take anybody out. TSM still alive. Clutch Gaming have to retreat. The Burn doing a lot of work on Lira. He's forced back into the fountain. Still 20 seconds on Damonte. Vulcan gets himself away. Ignite going to be taking him low. Nexus turret number 2 under fire, under pressure, under the ground, as Clutch Gaming have no way to stop this onslaught. Broken Blade into the back is going to start things off with a shuffle, and that is it. TSM take the game.
TSM take down Clutch Gaming, and they take down the first Qiyana of the LCS.
1, 2, 3, TSM!
Another strong Twisted Fate game from Bjergsen. I think early on, one of the key factors as well was Broken Blade outplaying 2v1 on the top side of the map, absorbing pressure, and Akaadian getting some successful ganks off as well onto Huni's Cassiopeia.
No
really turning the
deaths
tides.
on jungler, mid laner, or support. Smoothie with a perfect scoreline on the Yuumi as well, 0, 0, and 10. Doing a good job in those fights, putting the ultimate exactly where it needed to be to get that CC onto the Clutch members that gave TSM the opportunity for the kills. And honestly, it was just a better game of League of Legends played by TSM. Akaadian's ganks in the top side, although they were fewer than what Clutch Gaming did, they were successful. They put Broken Blade where he needed to be. Broken Blade dodged the aggro, like you said. He dealt with it very well, absorbed that pressure. Meanwhile, Bjergsen's all over the map. He's playing the side lanes to the point where even when TSM is down a man, they're the ones calling the shots, saying, no, you gotta go here. No, now you gotta go here. No, now you gotta go back over there. This was just TSM being better at the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly objective trades that were foiled by good defensive play, so TSM ends up getting more in the trade. And this is going to be a much-needed win for them as they try and climb back up the standings, heading towards playoffs. They want one of the top spots. You know, they want to be going into playoffs, you know, looking for those buys, looking to contest C9, Team Liquid, and CLG.
I mean, this is TSM. This is the winningest org in the history of North American League of Legends. You don't aim for 6th place to barely get into playoffs. You want to look as good as possible, especially after the rough year that they had last year, especially after going the distance in spring in the finals and then losing in the 5th game. TSM obviously have a lot to prove, and if they keep playing like they did today, we'll probably see them prove some things here soon. But for more on the win, Obvi is standing by with the victorious jungler.
Thanks, guys. Akaadian, congratulations on the win. Now, earlier today, we had a little bit of an interview from you saying that when compared to Grig kind of fighting for playtime, you said that you were looking more in games to try not to make mistakes rather than playing to win. So today, when you picked up that first blood in the top lane, did that do anything to boost your confidence and unlock you in this game?
I mean, not necessarily, not specifically that. I think just in the last couple of weeks, I've gained more confidence, I guess, for myself. I think it was pretty rough earlier in the season just because of, I don't know, all the stuff that happened, but I don't know. I think I was pretty confident before the game, and I don't really think it like changed anything. I think the game just went really normally. We had a game plan and executed, and it was good.
Well, with this win, you guys are moving up and kind of joining that big old pack that's fighting for first place. So does that mean anything to you or the team?
I mean, not necessarily. I think everyone just was, I mean, obviously we had a lot of losses, so a lot more losses than we would like this season, and I think our whole team sees us as, you know, we're definitely like a top of the pack team. We have top of the pack players for sure. And we just need to iron out like the coordination, I guess. And I think we kind of already see ourselves as one of the top teams, so it's fine.
And speaking to some of those losses, last week you had the CLG loss, but actually some members of your team came forward and said that they were fine with the loss, or rather felt good about it because it felt like they were making progression. So what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, the game sucked to lose, obviously. Like, we lost pretty quickly, and it's kind of a stomp, but I think we've had some games this season which are like probably pretty boring to watch, where we kind of just do nothing, flub a lot of stuff, and then just mess up and lose, and it's really slow and boring. But that game, we just made a lot of plays. The plays didn't work very well. They just played well. CLG played well in that game, and we just lost. So I think everybody's more willing to take losses that are like execution based rather than we didn't have the communication, or we didn't have like the mistake, or the, what's it called? We didn't have the decisions there, so.
Well, Well, tomorrow you take on another top team in Cloud9. They've been experimenting with their junglers, either potential MVP candidate Zven or the wildcard Blabber. So what are your thoughts going into that jungle matchup and into that game?
I think C9 is always a really unique team to play. It's always really fun playing against them. They have good players, and Reaper has the draft kingdom, as everyone knows. So I don't know. I'm just always really excited to play any team that I consider is going to be like a high-level game, I guess, and it's always really hyped. So I'm just excited to play.
Well, thank you and congratulations again on the win. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. As TSM picks up another win to move to 7-4, we welcome Skara to the desk, whose qualifications include being better than Mark Z at TFT.
That's not confirmed yet. Ranked isn't out. You can't prove that anywhere.
Through viewership, I gotta say.
Yeah. All right, let's calm down. Okay.
I just gotta say, it's like I never left. So TSM beating Student B Dignitas, it's just written in the books,
nothing's
right?
changed.
Nothing's changed.
The more things change, the more they stay the same here. But I tell you something that has changed a bit. Qiyana, as you mentioned coming into the day, Crumbs was undefeated internationally, just received her first loss. You told me pick her, and it's the easiest win of my life. What happened?
And then Qiyana. Where else was it going to happen?
Wow.
And Damonte was actually the first player to bring it out in NA. He played it in Academy on Thursday, so it's surprising to see it lose here. But TSM had just a phenomenal game to respond to the Qiyana. The TF being able to see her during the stealth is a big hamper in her ability to actually be an assassin.
Let's be fair, though. This was the Bjergsen show. It wasn't just like, a nice, intelligent counter. It was like, oh, by the way, he slammed the enemy's bot lane with like 2 great plays in a row to shut them down. Akaadian made a play on the top side, so it was a lot of things going right as well.
Yeah, I really like this aggressive version of TSM. Like Akaadian said in his interview, like watching TSM like bleed out is not how ideally I want to watch them. And so when I watch them make plays nonstop bot lane, and I watch Akaadian just run it down on Huni top lane, like that's what I want to see. And I think the way that TSM kind of wins this game was as soon as Bjergsen swung bot lane and Huni can get going top lane, like ideally the Qiyana is an assassin that ends up split pushing later, but can't ever do that against TFLT. So like all the options were closed, and I thought there was no way back until Zven got caught mid.
Yeah, that was a big one, and perhaps Clutch's only opportunity to get back into the game. You mentioned TF's ability to pick Qiyana in the side lane. Happened to be the way the game ended in its entirety. But I do want to look at the rest of Champions League, because outside of the Qiyana, there were some other interesting things. Huni continues to go for the mages in the top lane, the Cassiopeia. Azir, of all things, is the response there.
Yeah, the Cassio is not weird to us because it's Huni. It's the Azir top because it was a last pick on blue side. Is it going to be flex? Is it Azir mid? TF top could be viable, but instead it's Azir. And I have no problems with it, frankly. It's what TSM said they wanted to run, and it lanes fine and it can escape, so why not?
My take on this as a mid laner is that matchup is actually harder in the longer lane. So the way that matchup ends up mid lane is more skill matchup, because even if mid lane Azir gets hit with the Cassio Q, Cassio can only get 2 E's on the chase down, or 1 E. But top lane, it's so long that potentially you get a second Q followed by multiple E's. And so I think it's a much harder top lane, and without pressure, that matchup goes terrible.
That's why we get your boy Akaadian.
That's what I was to say, is while it makes it easier for the Cassio to punish the Azir in trading, it also makes the Cassio more vulnerable to ganks. And so that first play, like, you just have Akaadian literally starting at his own turret and running all the way down the lane to go and find that kill. Like, this was a super long chase down. Yes, he has Predator and Cassio has no way out, but like, he ran through an entire minion wave.
I'm coming!
Yeah, and there's nothing to stop him. And then, of course, the excellent flash predict to make sure this actually converts into a kill. But this shows, yes, Cassio can punish the Azir harder, but the jungler can punish the Cassio harder.
Right, I think that's a crucial thing to point out. Here he is again, coming top lane to capitalize on a turret dive, put that Cassio even a bit further behind. We saw later in the game, as you mentioned, TF, the one to go to the side lanes. Cassio tasked with kind of managing that split push from Bjergsen. So, moving Azir back to the team and letting TF do the work once they crest the midway point.
Yeah, Huni was still really strong. 2 items on Cassiopeia is still very difficult to 1v1 because of the mass that gives him that extra healing when he starts using those spells. But because TF has Yuumi attached to it, it makes the split pushing impossible. Because it's not just TF porting to you, it's a Yuumi with more crowd control, more heals. It's just such a deadly combination that I'm starting to think that Cloud9 was onto something, because they brought it out last week with Niski running the TF and Zayah with the Yuumi.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The way that I see the TF mid lane, I think it's really greedy to a lot of the like assassin plus CC jungle picks, because you're running TP TF and you're going like Sheen plus Phage. If you slam that pick with a lot of pressure, like you pink ward mid lane and look for a lot of roams into it, that's how you shut down TF. But it seems like they give it a little bit of pressure and they're like, you know what, we'll just force the 4v4 bot lane. And they always lose, every single time.
Mark, give me the kind of the consensus on TSM. Are they continuing to stick to their guns in the way that we want to see it?
Yeah, I think this is what we want to see. It was the aggressive playstyle, even though, you know, some of the picks were a little weird. And you can see Azir is slow, but it's a top lane Azir, so it's still flexible. So I think everyone who is a TSM fan should be extremely happy with that game.
All right, there you have it. It's CLG's big win, though, over TSM last week. Has you itching to show your support. Pick up your team pass, which unlocks special